60 days from now, I am moving across the world to Australia. What is going on? I have dreamt of moving abroad since I was a teenager, and I have now been planning this move for about a year. The fact that it is finally actually happening is so surreal. Honestly, it makes me feel a little bit nauseous. So I have 2 months to move myself across the world, and I will be taking you with me through this entire journey and moving experience. Thought I would sit down and tell you the story of how this all came to be, get you caught up to speed, and hopefully answer any questions you may have. Presumptuous of me to assume you'll have questions, but I'm gonna start with the story of how this all came to be and like a little bit about my background and how I decided I wanted to live abroad. But if you want to skip to the logistics section, or really any section of the video for that matter, I will have timestamps in the description and in the comments. Living abroad has been a dream of mine since I was a teenager. I was actually set to study abroad in fall of 2020. That didn't happen. It was canceled, global pandemic and all of that. One of the schools I applied to study abroad was actually the University of Sydney. I always joke about my study abroad being canceled and like the character building of all of that, but in the moment I was so crushed. I didn't just randomly decide to study abroad one day. It's something I'd wanted to do since I was in high school, and whenever I was done with class for the day, I would go tutor elementary and middle school math students and like save all of my money from tutoring in my study abroad fund. And I also chose to live at home with my parents rather than in the dorms to save some money to use towards my study abroad as well. So yeah, I was very sad that I wasn't able to study abroad. Ever since then, I knew I wanted to live abroad. I just didn't know when. Let's rewind to the start of 2025. At this point, I had been living in Utah for about 4 years, and I had gotten very comfortable with my house, my work, my routines, my coffee shop. Like the baristas have my order memorized, and I must say I did love the routine. But yeah, around the new year last year, I started to get this kind of itch. Something felt off. It almost felt like my life had kind of lost that spark and that adventure. It was around this time where I started to wonder, what am I really waiting for? If not now, when am I gonna do it? I started to realize that the older I was getting, it's not gonna get any easier to move abroad when it comes to like responsibilities and relationships and just feeling like comfortable with where I live. So I asked myself, what am I actually waiting for at this point? Now, if you know me, I am very type A. I'm an over planner. I'm like hyper organized. So of course I drew everything out. I wrote a very long list of everything I needed to be able to actually move abroad. So I was looking into visa options, finances, logistics, and within like a couple of months of research and planning, I was like, wait, hold on. I think all of these boxes are checked. I had enough savings. I had a really good visa option. I'm self-employed. I'm young. I'm relatively untethered. I don't have any pets. If I don't go, I now know the only reason would be fear. So I was like, all right, I think I have to move abroad. Some of you may know because he makes cameos in some of my videos, my boyfriend Cal. We have been together for, oh my gosh, a little over 6 years now. And yes, he is coming with me. We're moving together. One of the things that makes this even more exciting is that this is a dream that he and I share. We actually talked about it on our very first date. So feels full circle. I'm not sure if I actually would have been brave enough to do this and make this move if it weren't for him encouraging me. He is always pushing me to try new things and get out of my comfort zone and push myself, which is so wonderful. So I wanted to chat a little bit about why Australia. So fun fact, I've actually never been to Australia. So yes, I am moving to a country I have never even visited, but I have always felt a pull towards Australia. And part of it is that I grew up in Southern California. I'm a beach baby at heart. I love the ocean. I love the temperate climate of being near the ocean. I love being somewhere without snow. I've also heard such good things about the Australian people and their values and their pace of life. So of course, Australia is a beautiful and incredible place. But it's not just about the place for me. This really feels like the next evolution of who I am. I have just become such a homebody in Utah. And I've gotten so attached to my routine and just like sitting in my house. I feel like my life is just missing that sense of adventure. I want to get outside my comfort zone and I want to get out into the world. So yeah, I am just gonna throw myself off the deep end with that. I know a lot of people, when they move abroad, especially for like a shorter term move, they will travel around like a couple months here and there, whatever. We really wanted to find a home base and rent an apartment for the entire duration of our stay. First of all, there's more job opportunities staying in one place, but also the idea of bopping around and never knowing where I'm gonna go next and where I'm gonna stay gave me heart palpitations. I need some semblance of control and stability, so this was my version of that, was like picking one main place to stay. Choosing where in Australia we wanted to live was very difficult and we considered many different options. Ultimately, we decided to live in a city. Part of it is that I've lived in the American suburbs for pretty much all of my life, and it's starting to feel a little bit like Groundhog Day. There's pros and cons to living in the suburbs, but I really want to experience life in a city. Like the restaurants and bars and workout classes and run clubs and events and like meeting people my age, the whole 9 yards. I am so looking forward to it. So we decided on Sydney. Probably not super surprising to hear from an American, but certainly we plan to get out and about and we want to see as much of Australia as we possibly can, because I know that there are so many incredible and beautiful places to visit across the entire country, not just Sydney. But yeah, based on my research, Sydney seemed like the right place to get a mix of like city life, beautiful beaches, lots of job opportunities, lots of young people, and also lots of travelers, but it was a very hard decision. Let's get into the logistics because there is no shortage of logistics around here, okay? Starting with my visa. So my visa is for 12 months initially, and it's called the work and holiday visa. It is exactly what it sounds like. It will allow me to work and stay in Australia on an extended holiday. I will link more info on it down below in case you want to look into it. It's really cool. If we do want to stay longer than that initial year, then we will have to either A, work on a rural farm for 3 months to extend the visa another year, or B, get on a different visa. So I just have no idea at this point what that's going to look like and how long we're going to want to stay. This first little section will be for 12 months. Okay, what about where we're living? So we booked a short-term stay at like an Airbnb while we do some apartment hunting. The Australian rental market is very different from the American rental market, and in Sydney in particular, it is extremely expensive and competitive. So we are coming into it extremely humble. We're ready to lock in and make it happen, but I would be lying if I said I wasn't very nervous and a little bit stressed about finding somewhere to live. It's probably the most stressful part of the move for me is that we're moving without having anything secured. You have to do it all when you're actually there in person. So yeah, that'll be fun. But we do have somewhere to stay for those first few weeks, so that's good. In terms of a car, that is TBD. I know that Sydney has incredible public transportation, but it does seem to depend on where exactly you live, so we'll have to see how things shake out with our apartment. We'll vibe check it and I'll keep you posted. But in any case, I'm sure I will at least rent a car at some point while we're there, and I am very scared to drive on the left side of the road. The idea of taking a left on red. Not looking forward to that. Let's chat about work and the job situation for me. As some of you may know, I do work on my YouTube channel full time, and fortunately my visa does allow me to continue doing YouTube, so that is great. I am considering getting a part-time job somewhere in Sydney though, just to meet people, but we shall see. Okay, let's talk about my stuff. So I am moving to Australia with 2 checked bags, a carry-on, a backpack, and a dream. That's it. Am I thrilled about that? Honestly, no. At this point, I don't even know how I'm gonna make that happen. Like, that's the plan, but the idea of having everything I own in a couple suitcases. I walk around every day in my house looking at all of the stuff that I've accumulated and just thinking like, what am I gonna do with all of this? But yeah, I assessed all of the different options for the move, and this was the only option that made sense, truly. Shipping stuff would take, first of all, a very long time, like weeks or months for it to actually arrive, and it's also very expensive. Another part of this is that the person moving into our house actually wanted to buy a lot of our furniture and decor from us, so that's been really amazing and reduced a lot of stress for me knowing that like the big furniture items and pieces are all staying here. And honestly, I was looking around at all of the other stuff that I had and I was like, a lot of this is ready for a replacement anyway. I moved out when I graduated college. I was 21. I bought a lot of cheap stuff like IKEA, Target dollar section, really cheap clothes, and a lot of my stuff, it's like 5 years old now, is just, it's time for it to go. So I was like, I'm not even gonna do a storage unit, honestly, but I do have a personal storage unit called my mom and dad's garage. Shout out mom and dad. So I will definitely be leaving a few things with my family, my boyfriend's family, like sentimental items or just like a few things here and there. Okay, so every move in my mind has 2 parts. There's something you're running towards. So I've already kind of explained why Australia and why Sydney, but there's also another piece of this. So I wanted to touch on why I'm leaving Utah. As some of you may know, I live in Salt Lake City and I moved here about 5 years ago. Ever since I moved, I have known this is a stop along the way for me and not somewhere I wanted to stay forever. I originally moved here for my corporate tech job, which was, honestly, that job was amazing. I met such great people. I loved my team. My company was awesome. I had great benefits. I learned so much. And also moving out of state for the first time in my life from Southern California where I grew up was such an amazing experience. It was really fun to live somewhere with a totally different landscape, a different climate. Utah is so beautiful. But if I'm being honest with myself, I am just not outdoorsy enough to truly take advantage of what Utah has to offer. I don't hike. I don't camp. I don't ski. I have tried to learn and that was like the worst day of my life. When it comes to weather, I'm a delicate flower. The winters here are way too cold for me. I hate the snow. Driving in the snow puts me into an absolute state. And the summers here are blistering hot. I had no idea how hot it would be, like 90 to 100 degrees every day. I am just not built for that. I'm not built for this kind of weather. That said, Utah will always have such a special place in my heart. It makes me so sentimental because if/when I do move back to America, I do not plan to come back to Utah. I will certainly miss seeing the mountains. They are so, so beautiful. There are some restaurants here that I will literally never stop thinking about. They're so good. Part of me will miss the seasons, honestly. The way that the mountains turn like fiery red and orange in the fall when the leaves change, but I will mostly miss the people here, honestly. I have made some incredible friends over these past 5 years and I will cherish those friendships forever. It's so crazy to imagine my life before knowing and loving these people. And honestly, I need to stop talking about it because otherwise I'll cry. Moving on. The clock starts now. We have 60 days to move across the world, which makes me physically ill to say out loud. There is so much to do. Yeah, this is by far the scariest thing I have ever done. And I feel very privileged to say that because this is a challenge of my own choosing. I am very lucky, but I am still very scared. I'm someone who hates change and I am naturally so risk averse. This whole thing feels very out of character for me, honestly. I feel like the people I would imagine who do this kind of thing are so like laid back and chill and adventurous, and I am not chill. I've never been chill a day in my life, so I love routine and structure and planning and like controlling every single detail of my life. And I am just about to absolutely blow all of that up. I'm about to show up in a country I've never been to, with no car, nowhere to live, no friends, no family, where I don't know another soul. I have actual nightmares, like nightmares, that I get to the border and I don't have a visa, that I can't find anywhere to live. But yeah, every single day I wake up and I remind myself that first of all, this is a challenge of my choosing and I am so lucky to struggle with a challenge of my own choosing. And second of all, these are just fears. I can be afraid to do this. I can be nervous. I can be anxious. I can be stressed, and I can do it anyway because I spent years letting that stress and anxiety control me, convincing myself over and over again that it wasn't the right time, that I just needed to wait a little bit longer, that if I just saved more money or had this work experience, then it would be the time to go. For years, I told myself I wouldn't go until my YouTube channel was so much bigger or so much more successful or whatever. But at some point, I realized that the perfect time would never come. I want to stretch myself. I want to push myself to become the kind of person who takes risks, who is scared and takes the leap anyway. So yeah, trust me, I feel stretched right now. I am also extremely grateful that I get to do this with my best friend in the whole world, Cal, who talks me off the ledge every single day. I'm not kidding you. Like, it is a full-time job talking me off the ledge. I am so excited to document the entire process for you guys. Closet cleanouts, packing, apartment hunting, moving. This entire experience, I want to take you along for the ride, the ups and downs, the inevitable mistakes I'm sure I'll make. My goal for this series is to be completely raw and honest because maybe some of you out there also want to move abroad or maybe study abroad, so then hopefully this will be directly applicable. But I know some of you watching have a dream that has been sitting in the back of your mind. Maybe it's a business you want to start, maybe you want to leave a job or a relationship, maybe you want to move somewhere new. As you're watching this series, I really, really hope you'll start to ask yourself, why not me and why not now? Because truly, I am not special. Trust me. This time last year, I was sitting in my house, going to my coffee shop, making my same meals, going to my same gym, and keeping myself comfortable even though I knew there was something that I wanted to do. Honestly, something I needed to do. And maybe along the way, you can give yourself permission to do something crazy in your own life. That would just be the absolute cherry on top for me. It is extremely parasocial of me to say, but honestly, I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for being here. It truly means the world to me. I have been waiting months, months to share this with you guys. I was just waiting to get all my ducks in a row, to get everything finalized and booked and ready to go. I cannot believe I'm saying any of this out loud. It is so surreal. So yeah, if you would like to follow along on this journey with me, moving to Australia and spending the next year living in Sydney, make sure to subscribe. I upload new videos every week and man, do we have plenty to do. So I will see you next time.